Welcome back, everybody. Smashcat here. Thanks for staying with me through all these episodes. I'm on episode 4 today, and this is going to be by far the most customizable experience you've seen yet. I'm going to give you 3 separate templates, and you're going to have to pick which one works best for your champion and for your lane partner. With the support masteries, there's a lot of flexibility, and there's no perfect way to play any champion. So it's all about playstyle, and it's all about you. Let's get right into the 0921 Classic Support Mastery setup. I've got 9 points in the defense tree. These are pretty standard, as you've noticed from my other videos if you watched them. I'll put a link, just in case you haven't, to start from episode 1, and I've also got a playlist so you can watch right through. The 21 points in the utility tree are what you're here for. You can look at Phase Walker. We talked about this before. It reduces the cast time of recall by 1 second, which isn't a huge deal. Fleet of Foot, movement speed's good for every champion. Meditation, mana regeneration, you're going to use mana on almost every support unless you feel like working a little bit out of the meta, so this is also helpful for your harassing and healing on some champions. Scout increases the cast range of trinket items by 15%. This can be helpful when warding and when scanning, depending which item you have for your trinket, so it's not a bad idea to pick it up if you have points. Summoner's Insight reduces the cooldown of summoner spells by 10%. This is monstrous for Annie, Thresh, other champions that like to do a heavy flash engage. Strength of Spirit, we talked about this with the defensive masteries. 1 health regen per 5 seconds for every 300 maximum mana, and this will net you about 1 health regen in the beginning for 1 point, and it'll scale up to over 3 health regen depending how you build in the end of the game. Alchemist and Culinary Master are both great masteries to pick up, especially with 21 points in the support tree. Gives you a little more flexibility to go where you please. Mundo! Vampirism, Runic Affinity. These two don't apply a whole lot to supports because you don't need lifesteal or spell vamp, and you're most of the time not going to be getting the blue or red buff, so this really only applies to Baron. Greed, 1.5 gold every 10 seconds. This is really good to get on every single support because you're not going to be last hitting in the lane, that's the AD carry's job, and it's going to get you a few hundred gold over the course of the game. Scavenger, plus 1 gold each time an ally kills a nearby lane minion. Depending on how late the game goes, it could get you anywhere from 300 to 700 gold. Wealth, 40 starting gold. This equates to another health potion, which can save your life sometimes, 150 health, and then if you couple that with Alchemist and Culinary Master, turns into 190 health and 10 mana. Expanded Mind, 2% increased maximum mana, not going to be too crucial on most champions. Inspiration, 10 experience every 10 seconds while near a higher level allied champion. This seems good, but with the new changes to Dragon and the new experience changes in general to help the junglers and supports not get so caught behind like they were last season, this doesn't play a huge factor. For the first few stages of the game, you're going to be about the same level as your AD carry, and this won't benefit you very much at all. The only time I would see taking Inspiration is if you like to roam a lot. Now this means warding the enemy jungle early game to mid game, roaming mid for a gank. This does work on some champions like Blitzcrank. However, I would ignore this talent. Bandit. It grants 15 gold on champion kill or assist, and grants 3 gold each time an enemy champion is attacked. It does have a 5-second cooldown, so keep that in mind. And this doesn't work with abilities, it only works with auto attacks. So Sona, your power chord, once it's charged up, the auto attack will give you 3 gold, but the actual pressing of your Q will not give you 3 gold. So keep that in mind when looking at this talent. Intelligence, 5% cooldown reduction, and reduces the cooldown of activated items by 10%. If you get a Locket, if you get a Zhonya's, items like those, on your support, this is a very good talent. Not to mention, the 5% cooldown reduction for 3 points is the most valuable cooldown reduction talent compared to Sorcery out of all 3 trees. And then the final point is Wanderer, plus 5% movement speed out of combat. This is a great talent for warding, roaming, going back to your lane from the home base, and both chasing and running away out of combat. But keep in mind, this is only out of combat. This helps you not at all during laning phase when you're harassing. If a minion attacks you, if there's a champion closing in on you, they get 1 auto attack on you, this 5% is disabled. It is situational and it's conditional. I'll now show you something I picked up from X Special, and this is a 0-15-15. I would only suggest using this if you plan on being very aggressive. It works great on melee supports such as Tarek or Leona. The guide that I actually saw it from was created by X Special for Thresh. As you can see, we go a little deeper into the defense tree and we shave off a few points out of utility. We're sacrificing quite a bit of cooldown reduction, a little bit of gold regeneration, and some movement speed, but that's about it. We're picking up 2% of your missing health every 5 seconds, 3.5 armor, and 2 magic resist. The X Special page here will get you more early game tankiness, more early game and late game regeneration, which essentially could equate to a kill even if you live one time or get one kill by using these 15 points over doing a 0-9-21. You're voiding the value of Bandit and Intelligence for the rest of the game. So if you think 2% of your health, 3.5 armor, and 2 magic resist will save you or get you a kill one time, then this is the generic setup that you should be taking instead of a 0-9-21. I personally love this setup for champions, like I said, as Annie, Leona, Thresh, Tarek. You can get this on pretty much any support, and it makes you incredibly tanky. And then finally, we're going over to my support or feed page, and this is where you get into the really advanced supporting with a champion that you know and you love. I personally love Nidalee, and when I'm playing Nidalee, sometimes I even go a 21-0-9 if I'm feeling really crazy. This is a great page for Lulu, a great page for Sona, Nami, all those champions that kind of play in the back a little bit and don't take too much of the harass that you would use the defensive masteries to regenerate. This is going to equate to 5% bonus damage when they're below 35% health, 6 ability power, 16 ability power at level 18, which is about 0.9 per level, 5% cooldown reduction, and 1.5% additional damage. If you don't like double-edged sword, you can easily take 1 point into expose weakness, damaging an enemy with a spell increase allied champion's damage to that enemy by 1% for the next 3 seconds. This is perfectly viable, and this is actually a better way to go on some of the supports. You still get most of your gold regeneration, the only thing you sacrifice is Bandit. You start with 10% cooldown reduction, and you lose 5% movement speed, which isn't a huge deal for most champions. That about does it for episode 4. Tune in next time for the jungle episode, which is going to be the grand finale with, I believe it's 5 templates. I haven't quite finished it yet, but I think I'm going to wind up having 5 templates to work with. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Feel free to like and subscribe if this helped you and you haven't already. And you can also check me out live. And I really mean it when I say thank you guys so much.
They will regret opposing me. I mean, regret opposing Smashcat. Can we do another take? No? We're live? Son of a Demacian.